Hello, members of the Albuquerque City Council, and thank you for your time. My name is Khan, and today I'm presenting a proposal called the Right Well Plan. Albuquerque has already made an important decision by allowing residents to ride a BQ ride without paying a dime. That makes transportation much more affordable and accessible. However, making the bus free does not automatically make the system more dependable. Riders still need a bus that arrives when expected, stop that feels safe, clear information during delays, and ways to report problems. The purpose of the Right Well Plan is to protect the benefits of zero fares, not replace it, by improving safety, cleanliness, reliability, and public trust. My proposal combines service improvement with public awareness plan so that both the city and the community understand what is being improved upon, how success could be measured. This is our table of content for today. Firstly, we'll be seeing how the current situation is faring and how the Right Well plan comes into the picture. Then we'll see where the budget is coming from, and finally, a conclusion at the end. So, what is the current situation? Clearly, zero fares has helped increase access to public transportation. According to the figures shown on this slide, ABQ Ride recorded about 8.02 million ride across all services in fiscal year 2026, with an overall ridership increase of about 4%. Because riders no longer have to pay when boarding, transportation is easier to use for people with limited income, students, workers, older residents, and people who do not simply own a car. These numbers suggest that the policy is helping more people to use transit. However, ridership growth should not be the only measurement of success. The city should ask whether people and riders feel safe, whether buses are dependable, and whether service informations are easy to access and understand. These things leads us straight to the main problem. Accessibility is not the same thing as reliability. A ride may be free, but it can still be difficult to use if the bus is late, a trip is missed, a stop feels unsafe, or the rider cannot find clear information about a service change. Cleanliness and comfort also affect whether people are willing to continue using the public transportation system. IBQ Ride has already collected all of these data for riders about incidents, service, and security, but the problem is that these information may appear in separate reports or may be hiding behind hundreds of pages. I also want to be clear that this proposal does not blame the zero fare system for every problem in the transit system. Instead, it is arguing that the free fare system needs a stronger quality support so that greater access is matched by a more dependable service. So, what is the Right Well plan? Well, it is a plan that has four connected steps. The first step is to create one big public quality dashboard. This would be a place where information about service, safety, cleanliness, and rider feedback is all pumped into one big format. The second step is protecting reliability. ABQ Ride should prioritize routes and time that people usually depend on for work, school, medical care, and groceries. And step three is improving safety through support. This includes trained transit safety officers, better dispatch coordinations, outreach partner, clear rules, and appropriate response for different kinds of situation. And finally, step four is to collect rider feedback and use public service announcement to educate residents about the plan and how they can report their own concerns. All of these steps work together coherently. The dashboard create a system of accountability. The reliability plans improve upon the service. The safety models improve the response time and the overall safety of the system. And the feedback process gives a feedback loop where the city can continue to improve upon the system month after month. So let us see the details. Let us see the first step. The first step is to publish one big public quality dashboard. The dashboard would track several important indicators, including on-time and missed trips, calls for service by type, cleanliness report, rider complaints, and compliments. The actions ABQ Ride plans to take during the following months. The information should be organized by route, transit facility, and time of day whenever possible. It should also be separated from serious incidents and routine checks, medical calls, wellness calls, and other situations. This would prevent the public from seeing just one big, large number without understanding fully what it represented. The dashboard should use plain languages, simple visuals, so that residents do not need technical knowledge to understand it clearly. This step is already halfway done because ABQ Ride already collects much of the information needed. The main task is just to organize it into one big public format. And then we move on to the second step. The second step is protecting the bus's reliability. A free ride is not very helpful if the bus does not arrive. ABQ Ride should give priority to routes and service when at times connected to employment, schools, clinics, grocery stores, major transit centers, and other essential destinations. The city should avoid expanding service faster than its staffing can support. Hiring and retaining drivers and mechanics should remain a major priority because dependable service requires enough trained employees and working vehicles. When a trip is canceled or delayed, riders should receive clear updates through bus stops, transit applications, and ABQ Ride website. The main idea is simple. Essential routes should come first, and riders should know what is happening at all times. And then we move on to the third step, is building safety through support. The Long Range Transit Security Plan already does this. It recommends a coordinated approach involving transit safety officers, dispatch staff, Albuquerque community safety, outreach partners, and law enforcement. The Right Well plans support this model because not every transit problem requires the same response. The first response should be visible staff, clear communication, and an attempt to calm the situation. When the issue involves medical, behavioral health, or social service need, outreach workers or Albuquerque community safety may be more appropriate. APD should only respond when there is an immediate threat or a serious criminal situation. This response ladder protects the riders and the employees while avoiding a system where every problem is treated as a police only issue. Safety should mean that help is visible, fast, trained, and appropriate for the situation, not just a brute force way. And finally, step 4. This is probably the most important part of this plan since it involves collecting feedback and educating the public. ABQ Ride should conduct quarterly surveys at transit centers, bus stops, online and in paper form. Questions should be asked about safety, cleanliness, wait times, missed trips, communication, and the overall rider experience. These surveys should include not only passengers but also bus operators, mechanics, security employees, and other workers who experiences the system every day. The public service announcement would support this step. Its main message is free to ride, free to rely on. The PSA would be a short audio aimed at the Albuquerque riders and residents. It would explain that the zero fare is still here while encouraging people to report concerns, give feedback, and support safer and more dependable service. This would assist the city on active improvement of the plan. And then we'll move on to the budget. So, where's the budget coming from? Well, there the city has already proposed a major plan for the city's public transport system. Our budget is simply an add-on to the Albuquerque Long Range Transit Security Plan. It adds approximately $1.99991 to the currently already proposed plan of $6 million of the Albuquerque Long Range Transit Security Plan. And so these items have includes things as dashboard design, surveys, materials, translation, signs, and public communication. But this is just a generous placeholder until the city itself receives a proper cost. So, finally, the Ride Well plan has several important benefits. It would give the public public a clear picture, improve trust in the zero fare system, support riders and transit employees, and provide stronger evidence for future transit funding. It would also help the city measure whether safety and reliability are improving instead of relying on ridership numbers alone. There are also real costs and trade offs. The plan requires staffing, training, data reporting, surveys, communication, and long-term following through. Some costs still need official quotes, and the proposal would only work if the city consistently publishes results and invests long term. My request to the Albuquerque City Council is to connect the Right Well Plan to the Long Range Transit Security Plan and require three public accountability measures: a monthly quality dashboard, quarterly feedback surveys, and clear rider communication. Albuquerque has already made the bus free to ride. The next step is to make it free to rely on. Thank you for listening. These are all the works that is cited during this presentation.